To know what it was like for you to pull back the reins and not direct. Did you have to do a learning curve for that?
In trouble with the learning curve. But yeah, no, it wasn't. Though it's been 20 years, just about 19 years. It was very refreshing because it gave me an opportunity to give Rob the opportunity to direct, which he's always wanted to do, and it just gave me a time to really sort of enjoy the surroundings. So when I wasn't working in films, on the set that day, I just could kind of relax and see what everybody else is doing. Which, when you're directing, you do too, but you're always thinking in terms of the next shot.
Well, you've worked with Rob for so many years, as you say, and you have to obviously have that trust in him, you know. And
Yeah.
I asked him, I go, how do you give Clint Eastwood notes?
He didn't, as you notice, Rob's not a really overly talkative person. So he just, he comes up and said, well, what do you think, Clint? And I said, yeah, okay, that sounds good, let's go. Let's try it. So gives it's a very experimental thing. But the role did need a certain kind of concentration, so it was fine.
You have a wonderful relationship with Amy Adams in this. I mean, even though you guys are butting heads as characters, but she's such an amazing actress. What was it when you started working with her that started to, really impress you about her?
Well, I've enjoyed her in films before, so I thought it was a great idea when they cast her as my daughter. I think she looks like she could be my daughter. I like the fact that she had to play somebody who was nuts about baseball and obviously athletic or sort of a tomboy-ish person, and so I think she portrayed that well because she sort of is that. She's very athletic in her moves and everything. It worked well for the picture.
And it makes you think, there's so much going on in this film, but it really does make you think about your relationship with your family, your parents as they get older. And I was wondering, when you were a kid, did you have a bonding sports moment experience with your dad, or did you with your kids?
Not really, not the same type as that. And of course, the obstacle in this one is that he's having health issues and he doesn't want anybody to know about it. He doesn't want anybody to interfere with his life. He figures he can do everything himself. And she realizes that he can't, or he's headed towards not being able to. So I think that was a little, I never had that kind of parallel experience, no. But enjoyed playing it because I've known so many people like that. And my father's father, my grandfather was, my dad, he was an older man, in his 90s, and I remember my dad used to always be going by and having to coax him not to do certain things and what have you. And like one time he went over there and he found my grandfather up on the roof, and he was fixing some shingles or something like that. And he just about panicked because the roof was quite steep, and the fall would have taken him out. So,
Yeah, you gotta watch.
so you get that kind of thing. I mean, obstinance of old age, and you get the offsprings having to sit there and wonder how they're going to keep this person around for a few more years.
Yeah, it's really hits home. There's no question. Working with somebody like Justin Timberlake, now I understand that you're a big fan of his Saturday Night Live stuff.
Well, no, actually, I've seen him in several pictures. I met him years ago when he was in NSYNC, when he was in the band. He was a smaller young lad then, but we met. I think they were doing something on the Wonders lot or something. So I met the whole organization. But he, and I've seen him act in a few things, and I thought he was very good. And when Rob said that he wanted to do it, I said, great. But I thought he was terrific at it. And he was, because he did play a certain humorist, but he played it in sort of like a vague guy and not too swift, He wasn't overly on top of the game like a comedian kind of thing. He was more, but he did a nice job. I don't want to say dumb, but he played it like somebody who was kind of just a little more naive.
Well, also, I mean, he's playing somebody who you play his mentor in this movie, and in real life too. I mean, I just spoke to him, and for him to watch and work with you, do you ever consider that, Clint, when you have all these young actors on set or that are working with you these days, that you really are, it's a big honor for them to be working with you?
I never think of it that way, but I'm just, you never think about things in that order. If somebody mentions it, you say, well, I'm glad to help if you have any ideas or anything. And when you're directing a film, your attention is so much more vast that you're trying to think for everybody and with everybody, and it's a lot bigger job than just playing the one role. But and that's good. In fact, sometimes when I do a picture like this, I think, why haven't I done this more often?
We're asking the same thing.
Yeah, I do. But after Gran Torino, which wasn't that difficult a picture to make, but I just thought maybe I'll just separate the two powers for the rest of the road.
You look back at your amazing career, and I don't even know if you can answer this question for me, but what was the role, and think back, that changed your life forever?
That is a tough one. You're right, I can't. Along the way, I'm sure there were many, but almost every role changes you somewhat. And I think that's the reason I keep. I've never thought of retiring or anything like that, because I think it's interesting to. You're always learning something new about yourself, about the characters you play, and in thinking about the characters you play, yourself is included right up there.
Well, you've done a wonderful job in this, and like you say, just keep giving us more. I always, we have to have our yearly date, my friend.
Okay.
Okay,
All right,
thank you so much.